Volkswagen is a very popular three-row SUV called the Atlas. But a lot of people don't want 3 rows, they want 2 rows and more storage. So, Volkswagen came up with the 2020 Volkswagen Cross Sport. It is the same thing as the Atlas, however it is 2 rows, it has more storage, and it has a much sportier line. We're going to give you a Car Coach Reports rating. You'll see 10 different factors on what makes this car great and how it compares to other vehicles. And in the end, we'll give you a total so you really have a good idea before you head to the dealer. If this is your first time to the channel and you'd like to have more car smarts, not just car reviews, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that little bell, and we'll be giving you information you won't be getting anywhere else. Let's go for a ride. There are 2 engine options, a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that gets 22 miles to the gallon, or a V6 3.6-liter engine that gets 20 miles to the gallon. Here we go, 0 to 60. It's in sport mode, it's shifting about 6,000 RPM. It's okay in sport mode. There's a normal mode, which I think is a little anemic, and of course economy, which is something you'd want if you're looking for fuel economy. But when we're talking about performance, it's not just acceleration off the line, it's also on-ramps, the ability to pass when needed. So when you're thinking about performance, this is not a performance track type vehicle. What it is performance when it comes to you as an everyday driver. You know, I have to say, for the other cars in this class, you look like the Honda Pilot and a lot of vehicles that are really well sorted out. This is essentially an Atlas missing its 3rd row, so it has a lot of benefits to it, but I'm going to give it an 8 for performance. Handling is an important factor when considering an SUV. I mean, you've got your family on board, so obviously you need to make evasive maneuvers when necessary. That's not a daily occurrence, but you're also looking at the ride on rough roads. So I typically take all the vehicles on a rough road, and here in New York State, they're super easy to find. It's much harder to find a smooth road. And so part of that is braking, it's handling, it's ride, it's the ability to make a maneuver with confidence. Volkswagen is always known to make really quality vehicles that handle really well. So you're already feeling a lot of Volkswagen DNA in this vehicle. And if you've driven an Atlas with 3 rows, you're going to feel that same DNA. So whether you're driving at slow speeds or high speeds, it's important to have that comfort of stability, that confidence, you know that if something happens, you're going to be okay. Now, all-wheel drive for the winter, Volkswagen does a great job. Remember, Volkswagen Group is part of that Audi family. There's a lot of great technology. And when it comes to performance, it earns an 8. It's plainly, as I would say, obvious that safety is an important factor when buying an SUV, or any vehicle for that matter. The more safety features that are standard on a vehicle like this Cross Sport, the better it is for you, the customer. And they've done a really nice job putting a lot of safety features. And remember, this vehicle runs up against the Koreans, the Japanese, and the domestics. And with that thought in mind, that doesn't, of course, that also includes Land Rover and Jaguar SUVs. There's a lot of competition in this category. Having the ability to modify the vehicle to meet your needs, to make you comfortable on the road, to make you confident in your choice, well, Volkswagen's done that as well. And for safety, it earned a 9. Visibility is a critical factor when purchasing an SUV or any car, because if you can't see out the back and use the mirrors to your advantage, obviously it's a disadvantage. For this particular case, because the headrests are wide apart, the center headrest is low but could be adjusted upward as needed, it really is a benefit. And having large side mirrors, a round view camera, visibility is great, and it earns a 9. I always say seating comfort is so critical, and in this case it is. The driver's seat is really comfortable, good side support, good lumbar support, really well designed. Key thing is there's lumbar only on the driver's side. The passenger seat is comfortable. I don't know if I'd want to ride in it for a long ride. At this price point, there should be lumbar on the passenger side. The second row has a lot more room than you would expect. Actually, it has a little bit more room than the Atlas 3-row, because obviously you have to get a 3rd row involved, even though it's a little bit different. But there is a ton of knee room. I'm 5'8". Headroom, shoulder room. You can easily get 3 people across the back seat, and I think that's really important. As far as storage, there's tons of storage. There's pockets in the door, excellent. There's a speaker here. I mean, everything's really easy to use. There's 2 charging ports that are regular USB, and then of course there is a 115 outlet as well. So overall, they did a great job. You get vents in the back, lots of storage, well thought out, because this is an SUV. So for seating, even though the passenger front seat does not have lumbar, I had to give it a 6. Technology is an important part of any vehicle, and the Atlas Cross Sport has plenty of it. The steering wheel is pretty basic to any Volkswagen you may have ever owned or driven, which is great. I also, by the way, like the flat bottom wheel, but that's more in the features. The gauges are all computerized. Everything is easy to read. You've got your gasoline on your right, your water temperature on the left, your park and all the information. You can adjust all that information. You can turn items on and off with your hands on the steering wheel, so that's really great. Moving over to the center screen, it's nice piano black, which means there's going to be fingerprints, but pretty much everyone's gone to this design. When you press the radio, super easy to use, which is great, very intuitive. You can touch the center screen while the vehicle is in motion, which is great because some vehicles don't allow for that. So you've got your radio, your media, your phone, you got voice activation. Your navigation is a little bit dated because a lot of companies have gone to satellite or more colorful. It is color. It's got 3D and everything, so it's really nice. And it's a huge improvement over previous generations of way back for Volkswagen. You've got tons of apps you can put into your, lots of information, including a menu where you can put apps in as well, traffic, as well as climate control, a lot of information. They've done a great job. Going further down, as far as technology, pretty basic climate control with heated seats, which I really appreciate, 3-stage. And you've got wireless charging and tons of places to plug in, which I think are really, really important in this day and age because everybody and their brother wants to constantly be charging, and wireless charging plus plug-in-able charging, shall I say, is great. You've got the ability to go off-road mode too. You've got 4 different modes you can dial into and then sub modes within that. Again, technology, they did a really nice job. This is really not a high-tech vehicle, but overall everything works. It functions quickly. It's very intuitive. And for technology, I gave it an 8. Lots of features in this vehicle. I'm really comfortable with the fact there's adjustable height seat belts. That's really great because we're all built differently. Flat bottom steering wheel makes it easier to get in and out of the vehicle. Everything is easy to use. Lots of nice features. And that's important when you have a vehicle like this. You've got storage in the front tray, you got storage in the doors, you got storage in the back. That's all fantastic. Additional features, the huge glass roof. That's really wonderful, and a lot of people appreciate that. Lots of well thought out features in a vehicle like this because when you're buying an SUV, it has to meet your family's needs, it has to meet your needs, and I think that's something that people overlook. They look at just the price, or they look at the looks, or they look at one single feature, but all of these features are very equivalent to a lot of the competitors, and I think that's something you really need to consider when you're driving this vehicle or all the competitors, which we have reviewed. Lots of great features in the Atlas Cross Sport, and it earned an 8. Design is so important when you buy a vehicle because it's not just what it looks like on the inside, but also the outside because you approach it when you, of course, drive it every day. And one of the things I think is really great about the Atlas Cross Sport is, number one, they used an Atlas, but they made it 2-row, but they gave it more room, not just in the passenger compartment, but in the back. And the design of the whole thing was well thought out, letting people use the vehicle in a way that meets their family's needs, and I think they did a fabulous job. Overall, for design, although I see a few areas that could be improved, I give it a 9. They did a really great job. The Atlas Cross Sport is built in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and that just not only gives us jobs, but it's also built here in the US. This is a well-built vehicle, and when you're building an SUV that's a family vehicle, it's not just safety, it's all the components both inside and out. It's the fit, the finish, all the materials, and they did a nice job. Yes, this is soft material, which is great. Nice grippy steering wheel. All of this is really important factors when you're purchasing a vehicle, and you want it to last, especially if you're buying it. So they've added a longer warranty than a lot of their competitors, which I think is really important, and it's a factor that you need to consider when you're buying any vehicle. Am I leasing it? Okay, then who cares? It's the term of the lease. But if you're buying it, you want to make sure that it's going to last a long time. Volkswagen's done a fabulous job with that, and they've earned a 10. There is a lot more room in the back of this vehicle because it's just a few inches shorter than the Atlas, but what it gains is a ton of space. Put down the rear seats and you could pretty much go camping. You can get all your snow gear in here, anything that you want. Under the hatch is a lot more room. Now this vehicle is about 2.8 inches shorter, but you can see you put those rear seats down and you can bring a lot of things home. It also has a spare tire underneath this cover. When you're looking at value in this category, there is a lot of competition. The Atlas Cross Sport starts at $30,500 and fully loaded with all the goodies, the way we'd all like to have it, $49,500. Now, of course, you can add even more aftermarket accessories, which are available through your Volkswagen dealer. But for a total value score, we gave it an 8. The total score for the Atlas Cross Sport, the SEL with the 4Motion that we have, is a total of 83. Make sure to check out all the competitors before you make a final decision, and if we've given you car smarks, make sure to like and subscribe to our other videos, and we appreciate your comments. We do answer questions that we may have not answered throughout the video because we didn't want it to be 2 hours long, but we do appreciate you watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.